You're listening to the Full and Thriving podcast, a place where courageous women come to break free from food obsession, heal their relationship with their body, and strive to live a life that's present, lighthearted, and meaningful. If you're listening, my wish is that this podcast serves as a catalyst that inspires you to nourish your body, nurture your mind, and energize your spirit. I'm your host, Meg McCabe, a certified life coach and eating disorder recovery coach with a PhD in having a good time. Just kidding about that last part. Anyway, thank you so much for listening and enjoy the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another solo episode of Full and Thriving. I am super pumped to be here today, and I hope you all are doing well. I've been thinking of you. I know that we just finished up the holidays and we have started the new year, and this is usually a pretty inspiring and exciting time for me, and I hope you are all feeling your own bit of inspiration as we share a new beginning together, which is a fresh new year. But anyway, since the holidays, I really have been trying to get back into my usual flow, and I feel like today I'm finally hitting my groove. I know that many of you have been following my dating journey throughout 2022, and I usually use these solo shows to update all of you. So I am pleased to provide a little update today. So for those of you who followed the Meg and Anne Claire show on YouTube, you already know this. But if not, I am excited to share that I am in a new relationship after, I'd say, 6 or 7 months of being single. I've found Dan, who is an amazing human. We actually met in high school. We had a bunch of classes together. And for your reference, I'm 32 now, so it's been over 13 years since we went on a date. We actually went on our first date, I think, before prom-ish senior year, which is hilarious. And our first known interaction was making an anti-drug video for health class, which he still has at his parents' house, and that cracks me up. I have yet to watch it. I am low-key terrified to watch it because I'm afraid of secondhand embarrassment and to get all of those high school awkward feelings coming back to me. So anyway, it's been nice being in this new relationship. I feel really happy. I feel really at peace. I'm sure Dan is listening to this episode because he does support me and listens to my show. So hi, Dan. I'm really happy you're here. But yeah, it's nice to find a relationship that brings peace to my life and not one that adds stress and feelings of insecurity. Actually, it was pretty cool this weekend. Dan and I have birthdays 13 days apart. And this weekend we hosted a joint birthday party that was 70s/disco themed. And the whole intent was to just bring my group of friends and his group of friends together to just socialize a little bit more, because my personal goal is to build more of a community in Connecticut. And Dan and I both figured this would be a good start to that. So 70s themed disco party was what I was up to this weekend. I wore a bright orange and yellow floral bell bottoms, which was super fun. And then he wore this shaggy wig, which I give him a lot of credit for dedicating himself to the look so well. So I wish all of you were there. It would have been fun. And yes, I am now flirty 32 and thriving. And speaking of birthdays, believe it or not, we are actually coming up on the second birthday of the Recovery Collective, which is February 1st. And isn't that cute? It's turning 2. As you know, we welcome new members into the community 3 times per year. And this next enrollment period actually starts today. So please do me a favor and pause this audio now and go to recoverycollective.mykajabi.com to join the community officially. So if you've been on the waiting list, now is your time to go to our website. You can purchase your membership right there, and you have until February 1st to do so, because that's when the doors close again and they won't be open until the end of May. So now is your time. And I promise that when you join the Recovery Collective, myself, my work wife and co-founder, Anne Claire, our peer mentors, and all of the members of the community will welcome you with open arms. And because the membership is officially available today, I thought it would be a cool opportunity to address all of your hesitations in joining an online community, because I know that many of you are probably on the fence or just unsure about what an online recovery community is like. So if you're new here, the Recovery Collective is my global online recovery community that supports folks in their eating disorder recovery journey. And it is a recovery-focused group. We offer workshops, peer support, gentle yoga, group coaching, Nourish and Learns with Talia Sacelle, who is a eating disorder specialized dietitian, and so many more different events. And if you want to hear more about what we offer, I definitely recommend you check out episode 77, titled My Favorite Things About the Recovery Collective. Also, if you are a recovery community skeptic, this episode is for you, because I'm going to dive into the 6 most common hesitations to joining the Recovery Collective and share with you what I have to say about them. So if you're on the fence, I am so ready to change your mind about joining in this episode. So the first comment, and by the way, these are not ranked by popularity or anything like that, but the first hesitation I hear from people who are considering joining is, you know what, I am an introverted person and I don't want to talk about my recovery with other people. And first of all, I have to say, if you identify as an introvert, that does not mean you do not need connection in your recovery process. Introverts need friendship and community too. And just because you are introverted doesn't mean you won't find your people here. It might take you a little bit more warming up. And yes, I am pretty dang extroverted myself, but Anne Claire, my co-founder, is a proud introvert, and so is one of our recovery mentors, Anna. So you have 2 leaders in the community who are kind of the voice of introverts, and you will find your people here. And we have a few extroverts too who are actually really great at building that connection and speaking when things get awkward. And as a side note, are you truly introverted or do you have social anxiety? I have had clients who claim to be introverts and then they join the Recovery Collective and realize they're actually quite extroverted inside a community of trusted friends and acquaintances who understand what it's like to be going through recovery. So that's just something to think about. And then the other point of this hesitation is, I don't want to talk to other people about my recovery. And I just want to let you know that we do not force you to share the things that you don't feel comfortable sharing in this group. We have some folks who join our calls and they just listen in, or maybe they will add to the Zoom chat, but that's it. You're not obligated to share or communicate inside the calls if you don't want to. But it is really validating and kind of mind expanding to hear from other people who are going through recovery at the same time. And it can be really beneficial. If you don't want to talk, you can always listen to other people talk about their recovery. That's why things like podcasts and YouTube channels are so inspiring and helpful, because it's not always about you having to talk and share, but just listening to other people can help you have these beautiful aha moments or internal shifts that help your transformation. Okay, that was hesitation number 1. Are you ready for hesitation number 2? Okay, so hesitation number 2 is, I am too afraid to join live calls. And first of all, I want to say, I get it. It is really terrifying to get on a Zoom call of people that you don't really know. I joined an online podcasting community like maybe a year or two ago, and it offered live coaching calls. And when I got on my first 2 calls, I just sat there and I was dead silent. I was terrified. I completely psyched myself out from talking and sharing. And when I got on the call, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this must be how the new members of the Recovery Collective feel on their first calls. So trust me, I've been there in a different way. And this is why we have created the Recovery Collective Peer Mentor Program. And this program helps our new members warm up to the community before they join their first call. So when you sign up, you will receive a link to schedule a welcome meeting with one of our peer mentors, Anna or Gemma. And this call usually lasts 15 to 20 minutes. It's a nice check-in so you can get acquainted with the community, learn how to use the technology, how to navigate the content library, how to navigate the private Facebook group, and also how to access calls. But I would say the main benefit of this welcome meeting is that you have a private welcome call with a member of the community. So you have a friendly face that you can get to know as you begin. And these individuals are leaders within this group. We're also adding on a new layer for extra connection this year, which is going to be called the Connection Lead Program. And we will soon be offering this new component into the welcome meeting process. So essentially, after your welcome meeting, you will be connected with a person who's called a connection leader. And these are individuals within the community who have interest in connecting more with new members and will be assigned to you to build a deeper connection as you integrate into the group. So it's more of that recovery buddy than a mentorship role. And we hope this calms some of your first call nerves to know that you have the peer mentors, you have the connection leads, and when you get to the first call, hopefully there will be a few familiar faces on there. So I understand you're nervous to join the live calls, but just like any legitimate challenge in eating disorder recovery, it gets easier the more often you join because you start to see familiar faces, build meaningful friendships and connections inside the group. And then you're going to go from being afraid to join the live calls to actually excited because that's where you're going to see your closest recovery buddies. So something to think about. And that it concludes hesitation number 2. Hesitation number 3 is I am too busy to make it to the online events. And first of all, if you are super busy or your schedule does not match with the online calendar, I want to let you know that we record all of our live sessions except peer support, and we upload those replays onto a content library called Kajabi, but I lovingly call this private platform Recovery Netflix because you can access hours and hours of replays on there. And you can watch them at any time you want. And you can also listen to them kind of like a podcast if you're not really a visual person. So when you decide to join today, you will also gain access to all of the 2022 content on Kajabi, which is over 100 hours of recovery workshops and group coaching and yoga, etc., for free. And by the way, this offer is going to go away February 1st, so you should definitely take advantage of that. All of the 2022 content will not be available after February 1st. So if you are too busy to make it to the live events, you have the opportunity to watch later on. And to be honest, we have some members of the community who don't come to the live calls because of scheduling, but we also have members who prefer to watch the replays over coming to the live calls. And I've received messages from members I've never seen on a live call who express how much the replays help them and their recovery and how they actually feel really connected to the regulars who attend the workshops and sessions live all the time. So it's pretty special, and it goes to show that not making the calls live is not a reason to not join. There's definitely ways you can absorb the content and build meaningful connection without making it to every single call. Okay, the fourth hesitation to joining the Recovery Collective that I've heard a lot, and this is a sensitive subject. I know it's a tough subject to talk about, but I hear people say that they can't afford the community. And first of all, I know money and finances is a difficult subject, especially because the costs of treatment in the United States and other places is really high. So yes, I'm not going to use this as a moment to convince you that you can afford something you can't, but I want to put it in perspective a little bit. So in America, the average cost of 1 hour of therapy is $90 to $120 an hour, typically. Usually, many talented and specialized therapists don't even take insurance. And also coaches don't take insurance. So a lot of the times, that $90 to $120 an hour is out of pocket. And while the Recovery Collective is not a replacement for therapy whatsoever, we do provide eating disorder recovery support. And we offer approximately 13 hours of live recovery support every month. And that is at a cost of only $55 per month. So that breaks down to about $4.20 per hour. And if you want to get really nerdy with numbers, we can say that $4.20 per hour is only 4.6% of the cost of a $90 therapy session. So when you look at the numbers, the choice here is clear. This is a very affordable form of eating disorder recovery support. Yes, it is not one-on-one support, and no, it is not treatment, but the Recovery Collective is truly an affordable adjunct to your recovery treatment plan. And if the price is still holding you back, which again, I understand, we do offer a few annual membership scholarships through Project Heal that you can apply to. Definitely take advantage of that resource if you can. And while Project Heal is an American-based nonprofit, they are offering this scholarship to international applicants as well. Also, I do want to add a little piece in here, a little side note. All forms of healing, whether that's building an outpatient team, like hiring a coach or a dietitian, going to a higher level of care like residential or intensive outpatient treatment, it all comes down to the question, how much is recovery worth to you? How much is food freedom worth? How much is your mental healing worth? Community, friendship, all of these things are offered inside the Recovery Collective. There are individuals who have found their best friend inside the Recovery Collective, and you really can't put a price on that. So I know the restriction mindset that comes along with eating disorders can sometimes be reflected in one's spending habits and their relationship with money. And this turns into a fear of spending money in general. But if you relate to this concept of spending and restriction, this is your reminder that it's actually resourceful and intelligent to invest in yourself and your eating disorder recovery. You are completely worthy of doing this. You are completely worthy of healing and support. And don't listen to the eating disorder voice that tells you you're not. I'm here to tell you, you are worthy of healing and support. All right. The fifth hesitation that I often hear about eating disorder recovery communities is that they can be triggering. And first, I want to say, yes, there are some very unsafe and triggering online communities, related to eating disorder recovery. I mean, you can just find them pretty quickly on Instagram. And back in the day, I could easily find triggering message boards and chat groups. So the internet does not have the best reputation for online mental health communities. However, the Recovery Collective is different because the leaders, so myself and Anne Claire, are committed to keeping this community safe. And in order to do that, we share our community guidelines at the start of all of our calls. So some of these guidelines are reminders. For instance, we remind the members that when they're sharing, that they do not use specific numbers, such as talking about calories or their weight. We also ask that members do not talk about specific eating disorder behaviors that they use. Sometimes we talk about behaviors in general for education and learning purposes, but we do not have people share specifically about their own behaviors. We also ask that all folks keep their cameras on selfie view to prevent body checking and comparison. Additionally, Anne Claire and I moderate and approve every single post according to the community guidelines that show up on the Facebook page. So before it's visible to members, Anne Claire have already read and approved each and every Facebook post. I do want to let you know that it is impossible to prevent every trigger from occurring. And this is because everyone's triggers are different and they are hard to control. So I cannot promise a perfect environment, but we are committed to making this a safe environment, and we are committed to making it a positive, supportive, and recovery-focused group. Finally, we also strive to invite folks of diverse backgrounds, sizes, races, and genders into our community to ensure that all of our members can feel emotionally safe, seen, and heard. All right, the sixth and final hesitation that I hear from folks contemplating joining the Recovery Collective is that they don't know if they are sick enough. And unfortunately, this is a common internal narrative that folks in the eating disorder recovery space have. And in fact, one of our recovery mentors, Anna, had this same thought when she joined the Recovery Collective. She was not sure if she was actually sick enough to join an eating disorder recovery community. She wasn't sure about the validity of her illness when she joined the collective, and she didn't know if she'd fit in that way or not. But after attending a few calls, she quickly realized that her eating disorder was real, it was valid, it was legitimate, and that she was sick enough. So soon after, she ended up building her outpatient treatment team and pursued more formal forms of treatment. So if you're unsure, if you're sick enough, I'm here to tell you that if you're contemplating that question, first of all, the answer is yes. And if you resonate with this podcast at all, the answer is yes, you are sick enough. And joining the Recovery Collective might be the first step to you accepting that as truth. So you are sick enough and you deserve the care that you need. Inside the Recovery Collective, we have members at every single stage of recovery, from the very beginning stages all the way to fully recovered, like myself and Anne Claire, everywhere in between. We have people at all various levels of treatment. So you are welcome, no matter, the severity of your illness, no matter your age, your size, your gender, your race. We welcome everybody here. Okay, there you have it, folks. Those are the 6 biggest hesitations that I've heard about joining the Recovery Collective and what I have to say about them. And at the end of the day, I truly hope that you give it a go. We ask all members of the community to commit to 3 months at a time. And we think that this is how much time you need to fully integrate into the group and get into the groove of going onto calls regularly, etc. So when you join, I ask that you give it your all and commit to showing up. Showing up makes the biggest difference in your experience. So take the welcome call, post and comment in the Facebook group, talk to the peer mentors and connection leaders, and of course, come to our live events if you can. And if you have any interest or curiosity in your heart about becoming a member of the collective, I highly recommend that you give it a try. I promise you will love it and you will feel right at home. So if you're ready to do this, go to recoverycollective.mykajabi.com or see the link in the show notes. And Kajabi is spelled Kajabi. So that's recoverycollective.mykajabi.com. So if you are listening to this and you want more recovery support, I hope I see you inside the collective sometime today or before February 1st. All right. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you for listening and talk to you soon.